Don't move, freak! I think he's talking to you.
God, I love the Joker. In this particular situation, unless Batman is threatening someone's life, even threatening the Joker's life, lethal force would not be able to be used. Batman has this thing about not killing people, but you're shooting at cars that explode. We're gonna just randomly think that nothing happened bad to those people inside the car as it rolls over 10 zillion times and catches on fire. Hey everybody, Chris the Cop here. Welcome back. I'm in Gamology Studios. We're doing another Experts React. What are we reacting to? Well, it's my favorite superhero, Batman. What game are we looking at? Well, we're looking at two, Arkham Knight and Arkham City.
How does it feel?
Batman doing what Batman does best. I love this Batman uniform.
No, you can't do this.
So here's the interesting part. If anyone knows the lore of Batman, I'd say technically has never killed anyone. So if this bad guy knew that, Batman's always bringing in criminals, the threat wouldn't be all that significant. And here's the bad thing about when you use tactics to get information, you gotta be able to come through on your threat. So like a prime example, as a police officer, you want to tell a suspect, hey, if you don't tell me the information or who's the guy that ran for me or whatever the scenario may be, if you say, well, I'm gonna arrest you, you better be able to arrest them. Or if you say, well, if this happens, I'm going to do this. You have to be able to follow through on, I'm going to do this. And it has to be within the law, or better well, damn well be within the law. So that is a big thing, is that when you see young officers coming out into the field and they're like, hey, stop or I'm going to arrest you. Well, you better have something to arrest them on. So obviously Batman, he works on his own radar, but I get it. He's bringing the Batmobile a little bit closer to hopefully scare this person into giving him the information that he wants. So we'll see how this plays out. Well, it's playing out well for Batman. Just a little bit of pain, right? That's why Batman gets to work in a vigilante world and can't use pain as a way to get some type of information.
Don't move, freak! I think he's talking to you.
God, I love the Joker.
Take him down!
Now here's a funny thing about this particular scene. So oftentimes you see in video games where you'll see the police, SWAT, just start shooting at these various different scenarios. That is 100% lethal force, regardless of the armor that Batman is wearing. Lethal force, especially in the United States, has been defined by the Supreme Court. And I know people are going to be watching this and there's going to be a zillion comments down below, well, cops are always shooting people in the back and blah, 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 blah. I understand that, but let's talk about what is real. In this particular situation, unless Batman is threatening someone's life, threatening the life of the officers, even threatening the Joker's life, where they feel that he's about to kill the Joker, lethal force would not be able to be used. He's taken off. Yes, at this point in time, Batman is a felon. There once was a rule in the United States that you could shoot a fleeing felon. That is still within the law, but the definition of a felony is a little bit different these days, because that actual law of shooting a fleeing felon, and this is where you're able to shoot somebody in the back as a law enforcement officer, is reserved for somebody, if they escape, will cause more harm to the public. If an officer knows a serial killer is now running away from him and has identified that 100% this is a serial killer, and if this serial killer gets away, they're going to kill again, then deadly force would be authorized. It's reserved for that scenario, or the rapist, or the child rapist. It's reserved for that person. It's not reserved for the burglar. It's not reserved for the armed robber. It's not. And yeah, so in this particular situation, they would not be able to shoot at Batman. They'd be able just to say, hey, stop, please. And then, of course, we see Batman taking off. So I think we can all love the technology that Batman always has available to him. Obviously, he's doing some type of hacking here. Now, here's the interesting thing about hacking. We all hear about hacking situations going on. Unfortunately, right now in the United States, what a lot of people are not aware of, and law enforcement has done a great job of keeping it quiet, but the hackers have been hacking away at various institutions within the United States. Law enforcement agencies, especially in Southern California, quite a few of them have been hacked. If you do a Google search, you'll find that some agencies have actually paid the ransomware to hackers to get back into, these are police departments, to get back into their own data. And like, once again, it is happening across the board. Hackers have hacked gasoline installations. As a matter of fact, I don't know if a lot of people know this, there's a chlorine shortage in the United States right now because of hackers. They hacked the chlorine storage, and now there's no chlorine for swimming pools and various other places. And this is the type of stuff that we're seeing. Before, we would see just personal accounts of people being hacked. Today, you have police departments being hacked, and there's nothing that the police can do about it. You would think that the police departments, local police departments, would have better security. I don't. Obviously, our hackers have better hacking skills, and they're able to get through our systems. So maybe they got Batman. That's on their side. What do we got there? Got some escaping. So here's the interesting part. This is why we don't handcuff or restrain people in the front. We don't put cuffs like this, because with that, you still have complete access. A lot of people, can unhandcuff themselves if they got a key. That's why we never, in law enforcement, handcuff people to the front, unless it's because of a medical reason. You see them walking around in the yard. Now, the prison, I've only had the opportunity of touring 2 prisons, and they're not like this. Now, in this game, this would probably be considered a federal prison. Federal prisons are supposedly a lot nicer. I've never been in a federal prison. I've been in state prisons and been able to tour them, but they're definitely not like this. Guards are usually not armed while they're on the yard or somewhere where a prisoner could get them. The guards that are armed are usually in towers. This is obviously a little maniacal. This is obviously to play into the story. I would hope that things like this were not happening. Oh yeah, they're in Arkham, so there you go. We all know Arkham is a crazy place if you read Batman comics. For those of you that are wondering, I've been reading Batman comics since 350, so we all know that's where they're at now, number-wise. I actually forgot about this. Particular game. My daughter was playing this game, and I know she was very upset at the ending. She showed me the ending, which made me very upset. So this is one of the main reasons why I've never played this game, because I know of the ending. Please. So yeah, see, he's restrained, but he's able to still fight, and this is exactly what happens. Now, I've actually seen people that were handcuffed behind their back and were able to slip their cuffs and put them to the front. I'm still amazed that there are people that can do that, but they're able to do that. So we got a little prison fight going on. When these things happen, there's a lot of different things that are available to the guards to bring order. They can use less lethal, they can use beanbag shotguns, tasers, pepper spray. They got their batons and their riot shields, various different things. They're going to bring order back, and it's going to be possibly somewhat painful. Obviously, see, I think that was the Penguin. I couldn't really tell right there, but it looked like the Penguin was part of that. Night. I just really appreciate the Batman series, because I just love the way they make Gotham look, which gives you kind of that idea that the world is starting to go to crap. And, obviously Batman is needed just because of, it seems like there's like no good in the world. And if you actually look at the stories around Batman, especially like with the movies with Christian Bale, that was what that was all about, was Gotham did not deserve to be saved, and that's the reason why Ra's al Ghul was going to destroy Gotham, just because Gotham has always been like that armpit of the world, and the people just needed to be punished. And the games have kind of like translated that well. They've captured that darkness, and well, that's kind of why one of the reasons why Batman is known as the Dark Knight. I forgot this part. I don't know what kind of munitions Batman is using, but once again, in the comic books, Batman has always prided himself on never taking a life. Watching this gameplay, I might have to actually go and buy it and download it and play it, just because, even though I know the ending. I always like the fact though too, because it's like Batman has this like thing about not killing people, but you're shooting at cars that explode, and we're gonna just randomly think that maybe nothing happened bad to those people inside the car as it rolls over 10 zillion times and catches on fire. So I guess we're just gonna say that they got out safely. Now this question does come up, I know I see in comments from before, is people have asked, if Batman was real, as a real police officer, how would I view his vigilantism? What you have to remember is there are vigilantes out there. You can't side with the vigilantes, because the way our legal system is built here in the United States is that it is built upon the premise that all people are innocent until proven guilty. That's why there's strict laws. Once again, I know that they do get violated, but there's strict laws on how we could bring people into custody, you know, using that force reasonably necessary to effect arrest, prevent escape, or, you know, protect ourselves or others. Plenty of YouTube videos that show that officers have screwed that up. But anyways, if we're doing it right, people are taken into custody with that amount of force reasonably necessary. What we have to remember is vigilantes could get it wrong, you know, and there are vigilantes out there. The vigilante could get it wrong and subsequently punish the wrong person. Now, in Batman's world, if Batman was real, we have to realize that Batman is around during a time when he is needed, when law enforcement is hampered, they're not able to go after the bad guys. Some of these bad guys are super bad guys, super villains. So in this world of Batman, remember, Batman is needed because even like in the comics, even Batman says he wants to see a time when he's possibly not needed, but at this particular time he is. So we'll just leave it at that.
Life with Barbara. Probably thinking of names for all the little rug bats they'll have. What a...
I just wish I had some of the tools that Batman had. I often tell people that, you know, police officers are kind of like Batman because we all wear that, I call that the Batman utility belt. Depending on your department policy or what your preferences are will depend on how heavy and how much equipment that you have on your belt. I know when I was a young officer, my entire belt was just filled with equipment. As my back became injured, my neck became injured, I started to slowly take things off, and now I have the bare minimum on my belt just because of the amount of weight. I think the average belt of a new recruit is probably about 20 pounds. So think about that, you're carrying an extra 20 pounds on your waist. Obviously, Batman using kind of scanners to look for people or look for something. So use the radar to avoid detection and target the Cobra tank's exhaust ports. I can tell you right now, I would suck at this particular mission. I never do good on missions like this. What's interesting is you can say, well, okay, well, Batman, you know, it's an unrealistic scenario going after a tank, but let's not forget, we've had an incident back east, which was known as Killdozer, where someone made a tank out of a bulldozer. He was able to keep the police at bay for hours. He even crushed the police chief's car. Then we had the San Diego incident where, I would say, a veteran who was having some trouble stole a tank. He took that across the freeway, crushing cars and stuff like that. So we've had incidents where law enforcement has had to deal with actual tanks.
It requires 2 energy charges to be effective against the Cobra units.
Oh, looks like Batman's getting screwed here. What's interesting though is that now that we do have the realization that tanks are a possibility in our world, as well as armored vehicles, I can't say a lot, but I know law enforcement agencies like the one I work for, we have actually purchased 50 caliber guns to be able to take out the engine blocks of these vehicles and hopefully disable them. That's where we're at today's world. I mean, we talk about crime. It just seems like in my world, I know a lot of people don't realize this, but I actually get to see what the real world is like. I always call it the real world. A lot of people live in this different world that, you know, they think it's all sunshine and butterflies, and in reality, crime is on a rise. Bad guys are better armed. They have better weapons. Sometimes they're even better armed than law enforcement. We saw this during the Hollywood bank robbery back in the 90s where LAPD was outgunned because they did not have the weaponry that they needed. Now that has since been fixed, but this is where we're at today. We're kind of like seeing that, you know, that degradation of society where we got homelessness and, you know, streets look riddled with crime, abandoned vehicles, abandoned buildings. Just, we're seeing that it looks like just a collapse of humanity sometimes in some neighborhoods, which is unfortunate for the people that live in those areas. I like what this player is doing though, because it's kind of cool. He's using kind of like the pieing, which is a SWAT tactic where we're going to go into a corner, kind of pie it out, let the bad guy kind of come to us. He took the cover, utilized the foliage to kind of hide him and let the bad guy come to him and take him out from behind. So I kind of did appreciate that. Cool. I haven't played this game. I've watched the gameplay with my daughter playing this game. It's actually a pretty awesome game. It's a very beautiful game. I just love the darkness that they have made Gotham. The Joker is just more maniacal than you've ever seen him, especially from the comics. And I just love how they're just showing that diabolicalness of the Joker and how crazy he really is. It kind of goes back to in the movies when they made him just look that much more evil, which was, you know, what I could appreciate instead of less crazy. So, but very good game overall. All right, ladies and gentlemen, after watching that gameplay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be headed home and I'm gonna be reloading this on my own computer. Hey, if you like this content as well as other content on this channel, you're gonna definitely wanna follow Gamology on both Facebook and YouTube, as well as follow me, Chris the Cop, your favorite police officer in the world. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, peace. I gotta love the game. Most likely when I'm not gonna say that. And me, well, you can find me on YouTube as far as me, you can find me because I'm a dumbass, can't even get this right.